just look around. You got the mountains, you got the most beautiful city in the whole entire country. The university is absolutely, looks like it's out of a storybook. It's just beautiful. People are incredibly genuine and extremely nice. It's just a place that obviously I'd want my kids to go to school. And it sells itself. You don't have to sell anything about this place. You just got to get them here. You know, the old field of dreams. Yeah. Build it and they will come. It's already built.
Unbelievable place. Great university. Knoxville's unbelievable city. Great people. The passion for football is even greater than I thought it would be. And man, you know, Neyland Stadium, I said it, you know, a couple of years ago, and I still think it's the best football experience for a college football fan or a player in the country.
You know, I think a lot like this will really, you know, light a fire under anybody. I know me personally, like this feeling and the way this feels, like I'm not going to take this lightly. And I think everybody else on the offense will fall in line on that. So hopefully moving forward there won't be, you know, laboring days or nights. Not that we'll be perfect, but we're going to work for it.
And you have to not lose the game before you can ever win the game.
Do you remember when we fell in love? I remember, don't worry. Do you remember? I remember how it all began. How could I ever forget? It's the first time. Do you remember? I can feel it. I can feel it. I can feel it coming in the air now. I can feel it. I can feel it. I can feel it. It's coming in the air now.
Welcome to the Talkin VAWLS Network. My name is Boogie Bentley.
And I am Coach Jay.
We got a good one today, boys. I'm going to try to not let my blood pressure get too high. Some people pissed me off last night, but I told Coach Jay I've had time to sleep a little bit and calm down. I'm not as full of piss and vinegar as I was last night. We're still going to let it out, though. We're still going to talk about it because it's an ongoing conversation about Negavols, Sunshine Pumpers. You're not a real fan. You need to support this team, yada, yada, yada. We're going to talk about that, but we're also going to talk about this football game coming up on Saturday against UTSA. Coach, it's a bounce-back game. I never thought I would say that the UTSA game is a big one. This is a big one coming up on Saturday.
Yeah, hey, it's a get right game. They need to go get right, and that's in every facet of the game, right? It's in the defensive line, it's in gap integrity, it's in penetration, it's in the linebacking core maintaining backside gaps, it's in the secondary tackling and wrapping up, ass down, head up, wrap up, hat on the ball. Knees to nuts, any other tacklism that y'all want to throw on it, let's put them all on that DB is and secondary for Tennessee. And the offensive line, they've got to dig deep into their souls and find an answer, right? Because if this offensive line can't find an answer, then this offense is going to struggle to find answers all year long. You know, you might have games where Joe's out hot or the running game comes out hot, but they need to find an answer and not just one answer, 5 to 6 answers all across the line, tight end included in that situation when it comes to blocking. You want to think that you're going to want to get back to that run game and get right against UTSA, who was bad against ground attack last week in Army. So, but at the same time, you've got to get the passing game right too. So it's a get right game all the way around, Volunteer fans. Let's get right. Let's get right, baby, and let's fix this season. Hey, Coach Jay is going to be at the South Carolina game, not this weekend and next. And if Coach Jay sees tackling like that, he may be running on the field making a couple tackles himself, mustard bottle and golf ball in tote.
Oh, no, you're going to be like that dude that ran out during the Florida game. You're going to have your phone out. Like, if you do that, if you're going to run on the field.
I make a hit. If I'm going out there and getting arrested, I'm making a hit, Boogie.
Well, please mention Talkin VAWLS Network on the way, like while you're out there. Let's get a little pub in here. Look, it is a get-right game. Tennessee hopefully bounce back against UTSA, create a little momentum going into that South Carolina game. You go win that game. All of a sudden, you're looking back at September and say, okay, we slipped up against a big-time rival in Florida, but we're still coming out of the month at 4-1. Let's finish things off. Let's go beat Texas A&M, and then let's take care of business on the back half of the schedule. Got a lot of football left to play, but let's run down the chat, see who's hanging out bright and early on this Friday morning. Noah James is in the house dropping those custom Talkin VAWLS emojis. Appreciate that, brother. Joey Carroll is here. Says, good morning. Y'all have a great day. GBO. Appreciate that, Joey. James Bowers in the house. Taking my kids to their first game tomorrow. Go Vols, Rocky Top. Awesome, James. Enjoy it, man. Have a good time with the kiddos. Justin's in the house. What's up, brother? Good morning, my Vol peeps. Angry Titan is here. What's up, brother? Randy Wilson in the house. Backwoods is here. Marcus Rush also back in the house. What's up, brother? Good to see you in the chat. Got a couple of super chats here right out of the gate. First, Noah James, been a member for 10 months. Shout out, Noah. That's a lot of support. We appreciate it. It says, GBO, we got to make a statement to everyone that this isn't who we are. We are better than what we have shown. I agree, Noah. Thank you for the member chat. Thank you for the support, brother. David Michael becomes a member of the channel. Guys, you can do that as well. Hit the join button down below. Custom Talkin VAWLS emojis, fan call-in shows, all types of fun perks and benefits. But also, you just support what we're trying to do around here, so we appreciate that, David. Scott Bennett for 5. Cover charge, work again. Boogie GBO. When is X going to stream in lizard gear? You see, Josh Prey tried to bait us in, but I have been a Tennessee fan long enough to know you don't bet on Tennessee, so nobody's going to be wearing any lizard gear on this channel. Rocky Top rules for 5. Door fee will be working during the live, so I will catch it later, but I will most definitely be here for the pregame show tomorrow. Go Vols, GBO. Appreciate the super chat, brother. Yeah, tailgate show tomorrow, an hour before kickoff, and then we'll be live immediately following the game. Adam Cook for 5. Don't usually pay the door fee, but I want to sit close to the stage today. Anybody that's on the Facebook, either on Facebook or Twitter, knows that I'm full of piss and vinegar, and I got something I need to get off my chest. We're going to do that here in just a moment. Billy Ratliff had some words to say about the Tennessee fan base, and look, it's not like he was aggressive or angry or hateful. I don't like a word he used. I do not like a word he used. Coach Jay brought up a good point right before we went live. We'll bring that into the discussion as well. Wesley Williams for 5. Boogie, do you think the Vols will win a natty in the next few years? Will they? I don't know. Can they? Yeah, we got a pretty good quarterback sitting on the bench right now that I think is the future. I forget who I was. Oh, it was Donovan Milliken. Donovan's always he's in the chat. He's on the Facebook group. He made a video. He said he thinks before it's all said and done, Nico will go down as the greatest quarterback to ever play for the University of Tennessee. There's a lot of hype and expectations. We'll see if Nico can live up to it. Huge.
It's a big statement.
Let's rewind before we move forward, Coach. Any final comments you want to tie a bow on the Florida game last week after the rewatches and having time to kind of think about it, ponder it? Anything you want to go back and touch on in that Florida game?
I touched on it a little with all my get rights, and hey, it was a long list a couple minutes ago of get rights. So those are kind of a lot of my tie-ups with Florida. But the main tie-up, and I think it's what you're going to see, and whether it's in the passing game, running game, tackling game, or line game, we need to get back to playing Josh Heupel football overall, right? What we just saw, I think we're all in agreement, no matter if it's Billy Ratliff, BVD, Sports Talk J, Boogie Bentley, or heck, Vols JP, whoever it may be, we need to get back to playing Josh Heupel brand of football, and what we saw last week was definitely not that. So we need to remember who we are. We need to play hard for our brothers and our teammates out there on the field. and we need to respect that power T and everything that comes along with it. That give my all for Tennessee that they slap before they walk out of that field on Saturday. They need to take that to heart and play hard fundamentally in the right way when they step out on the field. They do that, and I think everything will be all right and will fall into place for them. But as far as Florida goes, just forget it, move on, remember who you are, and play your tails off every Saturday and leave it out on the field. Leave no questions as to how hard you work. I don't think anyone believes they left anything out on that field other than maybe a bad look for the university. That's about all they left on that field.
I agree with you about getting back to the run game. And I understand, I made a video talking about the offensive line yesterday, and Heupel addressed it on Vol Calls. He didn't hide it, didn't sugarcoat it. He put it out there and talked about, the front. And he talked about it with taking deep shots too. And can the front hold up? Can they protect Joe Milton? And, I just think they need to try to get back to that ground game. You look at the PFF grades. And again, I always feel like you have to put out this disclaimer. These PFF grades don't mean everything. The offensive line across the board was at the bottom. John Campbell, 61.9. Ollie Lane, 54. Andrej Karic, 51. Jeremiah Crawford, 43. They were terrible. Spraggins was the best offensive lineman at a 65.6. Just terrible across the board. But you talk about communication issues, and that's something Heupel mentioned with the offensive line. You get Cooper Mays back. I don't know if that's going to be this week, South Carolina, whenever it is. You get Cooper Mays back, and then you get Mincy's head on straight. You think that kind of solves some of the problems? Look, it's not a surprise. We talked about the offensive line all offseason and how it was a concern, particularly that magic buzzword we all like to use, depth, because it's the SEC. It's a physical game. You're going to have injuries, and then you have Gerald Mincy making a bonehead decision on a Thursday night. So you're without two of your five offensive linemen. What do you think about that? If you get Mincy back, you get Cooper Mays. Do you think it's because we were playing the Gators, or do you think it's because we were missing two of our offensive linemen?
I don't want to take everything away from the Gators last, Saturday. They executed. I still will die on that Giants, stump saying that they're not a good football team. I just do not believe that at all. I think a lot of the things were about us, not playing well, specifically on that offense line that you're talking about. If you get Mays and Mincy back, yeah. And, whatever Mincy's issue is, he's got to get it solved. Someone asked me the other day, Coach, what's up with Mincy just playing on, I can't remember what it was, kickoff or kick return. What's your thoughts on that? Well, my thoughts were that's a punishment, right? You're being punished if that's what you're doing, because look at the way Crawford was playing. It was terrible, and Mincy should have been in there, especially a kid who's going to play with fire in a game like Florida, because it's the school he used to go to. To me, it had punishment written all over it. I like how Heupel keeps that kind of stuff internal, so that's just one part of it. I think it does help to get Mincy back. I think he's a lot better offensive lineman than Crawford. I thought that was true last year as well. I think that helps, and it's long documented on this channel what I think Mr. Cooper Mays means to this offensive line as far as, pace, tempo, pre-snap. If there was one specific place I would put the worst part of this offensive line, and you can lump Mr. Milton in that group when I say this, it's pre-snap preparation and execution. You want to put an NFL grade on that, I'd say 2. It's a 2 for Coach Jay. It has been atrocious and the true cancer of this offense so far this year.
Let me hit a couple of super chats. Then we're gonna kind of change gears and talk a little bit less about football and a little bit more about fandom, what it means to be a fan. We're going to talk about players and their opinions, former players. We're going to get into it. Let me hit a super chat here from Billy Todd for 2. Thank you for the super chat, brother. Nothing to say, just a tip in the tip jar. Jarrett Faust for $5. Thanks for the great content, boys. GBO. Appreciate that, Jarrett. Thank you for the donation and for the kind words, my friend. David Michael for 10. Gators pissed in our Cheerios. Time to kill a road runner. Yeah, let's take care of business on Saturday, man. That's and a lot of people are saying, "Oh, it's just one game." It's not just one game, man. It's been 3 games and struggling against Austin Peay. They need a strong showing. And talking about fandom and how this fan base is at odds and arguing and bickering all the time. It's like you need to bounce back strong on Saturday to quieten that noise before you go play South Carolina in less a week and a day. X Factor for 5. Appreciate that, brother. Dang right, I will never wear that lizard gear. Me and Josh didn't shake on it. Also, Boogie will fire me if I do. LOL GBO. Well, you're right about that, X Factor. You're not showing up on this channel wearing some Gator gear. All right, let's talk about the I guess it's kind of the main event. It's what kind of added some fuel to my fire this morning. I don't know what BVD's doing. BVD, well, I know he's sleeping right now probably. He's not awake watching this, but I'm sure he will watch the replay. BVD had Billy Ratliff on the show last night, and Billy Ratliff, for those that don't know, probably most famous for, he is most famous for, recovering the fumble against Arkansas in 98. Without that play, Tennessee does not go on to win a national championship. It's a big-time play. Billy Ratliff's a guy that he's done some stuff on YouTube. Look, I respect everybody that's ever worn that power tee, and I'm not hating on Billy. I'm not mad at Billy. Well, I was last night. I had a night to sleep on it and calm down. But it's just been a week of this kind of building up to this moment. And one of the things that he said I want to talk about, and it's decals, sunshine pumper, something that drives me up the wall is, well, you're not a real fan. Well, am I supposed to just sit back? Coach Jay, once apathy sets in and you just stop caring, we're so far gone, we're never coming back.
Yeah, absolutely. Hey, look, we're on this dang channel, and we talked about it before we jumped on because we're passionate, right? Because we love Tennessee, Volunteers football, and because you care. You wouldn't be sitting here with a whole YouTube dang channel if you didn't care about this university and everything involved in it. And are there sunshine pumpers out there? Yeah, sure. Are there decals out there? Yeah, but I think the goal of this channel is to kind of just say how we feel as fans and air everything out there. When you're coaching on a football team or where you're part of the football team, it's family, and football is family, and we're all part of the Tennessee family, but it's kind of two different families also, right? And when you're in that inner circle family, there are some volunteer fans out there that warrant you to be protective against some of them with their comments that they make. And I think the Tennessee family, football player family, and coaching family over the year has been protective because of certain things certain volunteer fans have said and done. And I think that's unfortunate and can paint a negative light on the entire fan base when we just try to kind of state what we're seeing and what our inner concerns are about the program as a whole. Can be kind of lumped in with, some bad apples, if you will. Definitely.
I think where you really hit the nail on the head is what we try to do on this channel, right? And it's like, yes, there are people that almost thrive on the negativity, right? They almost, you almost think they enjoy Tennessee losing so that they can say, gotcha, I gotcha. And then on the other side, there's people that, well, at least they played it. At least it was a fun game. No, I don't want to lose and say at least it was a fun game. And I've always stayed committed to when I come on this channel, I'm going to talk about what I see. I'm going to stay true to my opinions. I've told you that. I've told everybody that comes on this as a regular part of the channel, don't ever just agree with me. Don't ever sugarcoat things. We're just talking about it. And one of those things is culture, right? I simply questioned on Wednesday night, is there a culture issue? I'm not on here spreading rumors. I'm not on here talking about things that people aren't aware of. It's all stuff that is in the public eye. It's already being talked about. So we as fans come together and say, hey, what is going on here? Is there something we should worry about? And that's where this video is going to start. I'm going to play it here in just a second. We got a super chat from Robert McGee. Appreciate that, brother. Thank you for the $10. Says, good morning, boys. Go Vols. Good morning, Robert. I hope you're having yourself a good Friday morning. Carter M. becomes a member of the channel. Appreciate that support. You guys pay the light bill around here, so keep those memberships rolling in. We appreciate it. Wesley Williams for 5. Hot take, Tennessee beats Alabama again this season. Boy, that would cure all this, wouldn't it? That's the thing, man. Winning cures everything. I hope you are right, Wesley. We will celebrate together, my friend. Rocky Top Tom for 5. I was pissed at Billy, too. There's a huge difference between ignorant optimism, realism, and endless negativity. Reality doesn't care about your feelings. Oh, man, shout out Rocky Top Tom. Appreciate that super chat, brother. I was in the chat when all this happened, and I think that added some fuel to the fire, too, because I tried to respond, and BBD didn't see it. And I've never wanted a link more than I wanted it last night. And it probably worked out for the better that I didn't get it. Let's just say that. All right. let's start, and we're going to kind of go through this thing. It's like four minutes or something because it's two different topics. First, he's going to play the clip. Coach Jay, I want you to hear it, and I want you to respond, and then we'll kind of get into Billy's comments. Here we go. BVD TV live last night.
I got one more clip to play for you. It's about a minute long. Listen to this one and see if you can take it all in because there's a lot of information in a minute.
I went into detail on that this morning with Sports Talk Jay and BVD, but I do want to ask you guys, Dauber, I want to ask your thoughts on the culture of this football team. It's something that we preached when Heupel came in, culture. He's changing the culture, positive energy, blah, 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 blah. And then it got to the point where we said, hey, we don't have to talk about it anymore. We know the type of culture that Josh Heupel is going to bring. Now, Aaron Beasley, post-game press conference, talking about not being surprised at a lack of discipline. The Gerald Mincey situation, and not just the fact that he's not dialed in. And we can even go back a couple of weeks ago. You know, a listener sent me something from the Swain event, and it was talking about Gerald Mincey and why he was behind J.J. Crawford. And it's because he didn't buy in. He was pissed because he wasn't at left tackle, and he wasn't buying in. So now he goes out. He's out past curfew. JP hit the nail on the head. He's not dialed in. Can you trust him? Dylan Sampson, immediately after the game, goes to Instagram and complaining about not getting carries. Caged cheetah. How does that do anybody any good? There's a lot of noise around this football program right now, Dauber, and I know it gets exposed when you start losing. But do you think we could be on the verge of seeing some type of locker room culture issue in 2023? Now he's gonna get the response from Billy Ratliff. What do you think about what I said there? Was it out of line? And what are your thoughts on never once did I say there is a locker room issue, there's a culture issue. There's just a lot of things that happened going into Florida week that raise a red flag to me.
To me, it's just asking a question. And I think it's a fair question. And you're wanting to get a response from volunteer fans. Just full disclosure, guys, I usually watch every dang thing on this channel. But I've been on kind of a top secret covert mission this week that we won't talk about too much here on the channel. But, I didn't catch either of these two shows when I normally would. So I am catching these for the first time. But to me, it's just asking a question to a panel. Hey, look, these news stories have come across our desk. What do y'all think of it as fans? And I don't know how they answered, but if you were asking me the question, I would think it's a fair question. But I would also answer with, I think Heupel's shown that they can handle things internally and get through it. And I don't think there's an overall culture problem, as there might be a couple beans sliding out of the bean pod a little bit. And that can happen on the best of cultures. Heck, one of the best cultured Tennessee football teams ever had a little moment and a little spat last year. So it's family. You're going to throw stuff at your brother every now and then when they steal your Xbox controller. That's natural. But, asking a question and wanting to, at least start to have a conversation as a fan base and air our worries. We talk about it all the time. Sometimes this channel can be group therapy for Tennessee fans who have been through a lot. And I think sometimes it's good to just air that out, get it on the table. Because I think ultimately most of us feel the same way that, it's just a couple little side issues and we trust Heupel and he's earned our trust and can move on. And that's just kind of how I view that little segment.
And to be fair to Billy here, Billy has no idea what this channel's about.
Right.
Probably has no idea who I am. He's
Right.
getting an out of context question, and he is responding live on air. So that's where I'm at the day after I had time to sleep and calm down, and not that natural reaction of why is this guy basically calling me out. I've had time to sleep on it, but still, let's take a listen to how Billy feels about me asking if there is a locker room chemistry culture issue.
I guess all that boiled down to that last question. Do you think there's a locker room culture problem?
0.
Now, let me say this. I still don't like that answer. 0? Like, you almost shake your head as in, this guy's an idiot. This guy that's asking me the question is an idiot. And then you look up and say 0. Now, your starting right tackle gets cited for possession on Thursday night after curfew, the day before you travel to the swamp. 0? That doesn't sound like 0 to me. Now, maybe it's 0.5%. Maybe it's 1%. Your third-string running back is going to Instagram and complaining about not getting carries. I'm a caged cheetah. 0? Or now we up to 2%, 2.5%? Are we up to 3%? Aaron Beasley making the comment that he made in the presser. Are we at 0, Coach? Or are there? I think you hit it again, man. You always calm me down. You're my calming force. We got a couple of bad beans, and Josh Heupel's going to have to sort it out. But you got to trust that Hype's going to respond the right way.
Yeah, I think, and I'm just trying to, Billy Ratliff can throw shoe at Coach Jay later if I'm answering wrong for him. But I'm just thinking maybe he just heard this and took it like, Hype's not doing anything about it, not fixing anything, not putting your kids in timeout when they get in trouble. And if he wasn't doing anything about that, then there would be a culture problem 100%, right? Because then it's acceptable behavior. And Billy probably knows a little more about I know he knows a little more about it than we do. So he's probably just answering from that standpoint. But they're both fair points. I mean, you see people are getting into trouble. That's a culture problem when people are in trouble. But for him, I think he's just looking at the overarching health that we're responding to any issues that came up as they came up. And that's a sign of organizational health. So I think there's truth in both things. 0, no. Was there an issue? I think maybe the better answer for Billy might have been, yeah, there's been some issues, but it was sorted out and the culture got restored. And that's going to happen on any football team at any given time. The important thing is that it's addressed. But you don't want to shut your eyes to anything whenever there's a little bit of a black spot on a potato. You want to cut that out or it's going to ruin the taste of your baked potato. And I think we're doing that and we'll be okay. But just to say that there's not a black spot on the baked potato is another issue also, right? So
again,
I love potatoes. I'm Irish. I don't know what to tell you, but it all boils down to
steak and taters. Steak and taters. People in the chat are getting pissed saying, just play the clip. Look, I'm providing context. I'm putting on a show. I'm giving my opinion. I'm showing you guys what irritated me. And now I think Billy makes some good points following up what I think was a bad response. Again, full transparency. Billy had no idea what he was getting into when BVD played these clips. So here he makes some good points about his experience as a player. So we'll take a listen to that, and then we'll kind of move on to the next point.
It's just amazing how people think it's a locker room issue when they lose. And I'll give you an example, man. We lost to Memphis back then. They thought that our locker room was the worst ever. They thought the team coach for them lost the team and all this thing. Come on, man. That ain't how this game works. This is when you become a football team, it's glue. I mean, that's just the media. That's what they want you to, people, no, man, that's not, no way.
Yeah, media is bad for that. And by the way, none of those guys in that clip are media. They're just fans like myself. I would say like you're just a fan now, but you got some inside scoop and, there's things, that some of us may never know, like what goes on in a college locker room. That's one thing that kind of irks me about fans and about our fans is how quick the common fan can see something happen on a football field in 3 hours on one night and then automatically dissect everything that's wrong with the program.
Isn't that part of being a fan, though, Coach? Like, and again, we talk about how this is therapy, and after a game, we like to get together and talk about it. We're always over emotional. Like, would life be any fun if the Tennessee game ended and we just went to bed and like you weren't allowed to talk about it, you weren't allowed to speak about it? It's like, come on. What are your thoughts there about what Billy Ratliff had to say there?
Yeah, I get everything Billy's saying. I think I told before, right? When that's his football family right there. It's like you're talking about his daughter or something when you ask questions like that, right? And he wants to put it on the field, and hey, they lost because of their actions on that field, right? But we're not asking cultural questions. The fan base isn't asking cultural questions because we didn't maintain gap integrity, because DBs were titty bumping in the backfield trying to make tackles. That's not why we're asking culture problems. You're asking cultural problems because someone was sided with possession. We're asking cultural problems because there's a player, crying about on social media instead of getting on the field and working to get better at something. That's why you're asking a cultural problem. That's why the fan base is asking a cultural problem. So I kind of get both sides of it. And hey, look, that is the fun of it. It is cooler talk. It is fan base. It's why I've always told people I come here as a fan first and a coach second. If I just got on here after the game and we had a 4-hour chalk talk about what just happened and how we're going to get better next week, Boogie Bentley would be back to his old terrible job and going, dang, Coach Jay and his
He ruined
7-hour chalk talk. No one subscribed. Everyone's ticked off. Yeah, no, that's not what you necessarily want to see, right? That's for inside the locker room. That's for inside the film sessions. That's for the team. Let the fans be fans. And can everyone get mad at the media for conflating things and starting things? Yeah, heck yeah. I think it can feed the fans unwarrantedly, and I think it can feed the old school players and coaching staffs. It can divide a wedge between us almost at times. So I think there's certain media, bases out there that need to be a little more honest and not just make up stories about kids being injured or locker room problems and all that kind of thing. And that will help aid kind of that relationship between the inner team circles and the fan base circles. But if everyone out there is sitting waiting for the media and news outlets to be honest all the time, you're going to be waiting for a long time. Maybe except for Kaner. We love you, Kaner. You can hang out. You're cool. You got an emoji. You can hang out. But besides that, yeah. Like I said, I just think someone was talking about his family, talking about his mom, his daughter, and he had a certain response. And I think it's just really important to separate the two. And cooler talk. It's fun. It's what makes fans fanatics, right? Fans short for fanatic, and Tennessee fans meet that criteria. But once again, to beat a dead drum, you just don't want to be that negative fan that's always negative, waiting for them to lose, that's sitting there mad at the end of the Alabama win last year going, we let them back into the game. We lost that game. We haven't fixed anything. We're terrible. Sit down. Everyone go back to your seats, calm down, and enjoy a big win. So, let that be.
I mean, it goes back to I'm always going to shoot straight. But I said last week, you don't think last year was way more fun than this week? This week has been awful. This week has been terrible. And, I get, protect the family. Do you know how many times I've been reached out to by a player's parent or a player's aunt and said, thank you for giving your opinion, but also realizing, and I'll say the name, that Jarrett Garantano is a human being. And you always treated him with respect. Even if you talked about the way he played on a Saturday night, you always treated him with respect. You always were behind him. You were always pulling for him. You were always encouraging him. Aaron Beasley had his mom reach out to me and say, thank you for covering, the fact that the charges were dropped and Aaron's back on this football team and you're excited about his opportunity to go play football. So when certain people say protect the family, and then some people in the chat are saying, oh, stop being so soft, you're being too sensitive, that's because you don't always know the full story. And I'm not here to try to say, well, I know this or that. I'm just saying, I want to protect the family too, but there's a different expectation on a fan versus on a player or a media person or whatever the case may be. We're fans. We can do whatever we want.
Yeah. And I think there's a difference too of being,
hey, cynic, don't watch, bro. Go do something else. If you don't want to watch what I'm talking about, go do something else. That's the whole point, man. That's the whole point. That's it. Do whatever you want. You don't have to watch. Nobody's got you handcuffed to a computer watching me and Coach Jay talk about this.
Yeah, no, hey, listen, we're just having a conversation, and there's a difference between, being descriptive and prescriptive for what's going on, right? Being descriptive and describing what we're seeing is one thing. Having all the prescriptions for it is different. Saying, oh yeah, this team does have this illness, and we know the cure for it because we're the all wise Tennessee Volunteer fans behind our keyboard. Just to me isn't what's going on. So people can think that if they want, but I know a lot of you out there realize, hey, it's a descriptive thing. We're describing what we see as fans and just talking about it. Nothing needs to be conflated. It's a conversation. And if you don't want to be part of the conversation, that's fine too. Just turn on and watch the game and enjoy it.
The next part of this conversation is just going to continue to piss Cynic off. He's going to be even more mad, but that's fine. We're going to continue to talk about it because it's talking about the fan base, and we're going to get into it. The Real Hank for 5. Y'all see the video of the players praying on IG. It was an edit clips of the guy praying and Joe reading his Bible and stuff. I love seeing that. No, I've not seen that. Hendon did that a lot too, which is cool. Evan counts for 10. Nothing to say, just a tip in the tip jar. Appreciate that, Evan. Appreciate you being in the chat. Timothy McGee says he is correct. Relax, chill out, eat a moon pie, drink some RC. Can we say Florida, Georgia having legal problems back in the day? That's the thing. Timothy, you're right. Like, everybody can respond however they want to respond. What drives me nuts is if you get mad at the way I respond, or I get mad at the way you respond. If you want to be the ultimate sunshine pumper, that's fine, but just don't get mad at me because I'm being critical of what I see on the field or off the field or whatever the case may be. Ronald for 5, I just want to see everyone play angry. Hopefully that's what we see on Saturday. Timothy with another 5. That old saying is the sun don't shine on the same dog butt every game. LOL. Thank you, Timothy, for the super chat. Appreciate it. All right, this is going to kind of go into this same theme, and I know this is a different style show, but it's it's something that I want to talk about. I think it's worth talking about because our fan base is eating their own. They're eating each other alive. So let's take a listen to where BVD takes this conversation next, talking about fans.
And that's not realistic.
Well, here, I'll give you something like here. This is something that I've always wanted to say, and when I had things going, I didn't really want to say these things. And I'm a fan myself now, and I see how fans react. So tell me this here. What if the players reacted the same way to the fans? What if the players said the exact same thing? How would you feel?
Oh, it would be a bloodbath.
Exactly. So why do that though? Why do the controversy with the team that you're supposed to love?
That comment right there is what pissed me off last night. That's why I woke up in a foul mood. That's why I went to bed in a foul mood, because he said the team you're supposed to love. So the way I take that is, this dude talking don't love Tennessee football. We've talked about it on this channel. We've missed weddings. We've missed birthdays. We've missed family events for Tennessee football. And this goes back before Talkin VAWLS was even a thing. Mrs. Boogie knew if it was in the fall and somebody wanted to do something, she had to go check the Tennessee schedule before she could make plans. And that's because of my love for Tennessee football. And Dauber said something on here Wednesday night talking about how he has a diploma from Tennessee and I don't. I don't care about that either. That means nothing to me. You can't think that you're more important than any other Tennessee fan, whether you graduated from there, whatever the case may be. The difference is players. I think players are obviously here. They're the ones that put the work in. They're the ones that make the sacrifices. But there's a difference between a player and a fan. But to say the team you're supposed to love, why? Because I rattled off a bunch of stuff that was already in the news? It's like Coach Jay said, I didn't put that stuff out there. It's already out there. But that one word, supposed to love, that casts doubt on whether or not I love Tennessee. You're now questioning me as a fan. That pisses me off. Again, I've missed so many things to be a part of this Tennessee family, and I love this Tennessee family. And the whole point of this is because Negaval, be a Negaval. Don't care. Sunshine Pumper, be a Sunshine Pumper. But stop with the you're not a true fan. I cannot stand that. Coach, what are your thoughts?
And I was just suspicious earlier when we were talking before, and like I said, I think what is happening here, and I could be wrong, but I feel like you were just getting lumped in with a giant bit of fan base that he was talking about in the past. Like he said, this is something I've always wanted to say to fans, which to me says this is long brewing before BVD ever, brought up this, clip of you saying that he's always wanted to say that to the fans. So I don't know that he was necessarily, talking directly to you in that exact comment as much as just lumping, not only you, Vols JP, the whole channel as a whole. I keep saying you, Boogie, but I really just mean the channel as a whole, and most Vol YouTubers as a whole, for that matter. BVD, Sports Talk, Blue Chip, everyone included that's talked about it.
BVD is a good guy, Justin. Don't think that I'm mad at BVD. I'm not mad at Billy Ratliff at all. I just wish he wouldn't have worded things the way he worded them. But it opened up a conversation. Sorry, Coach, cut you off.
Yeah, no. So, and I'm sure. Hey, listen, these players are going to feel a certain way. Every player that's ever been through the University of Tennessee, including the ones that are there now, have been pissed off at a fan at one point in their life for something some fan has done, right? And they're going to lump them in together, whether it be fair or not fair. They're going to, just kind of, keep that in mind whenever they're dealing with a fan, and that fans do this kind of thing and blow things out of proportion, as we've been talking about Sunshine Pop or Negavol. But hey, listen, we all love this university. Whether you went there or not, it's cool, the people that went there. I'm jealous of that. That's awesome. But hey, man, I've known every single player on every Tennessee team since I've been alive, man. And I grew up in Los Angeles, as a lot of you know. I put my fandom against almost anyone. So you can love something and be fanatical without have been, that close to it. And I think it's unfortunate that a loss can get everyone fighting amongst each other. Yeah. And I think it's unfortunate that people can get lumped in together. And I think it's very important that we all treat everyone as individuals, and let what you said kind of stand on its own, what each of us say individually stand on its own, and realize that we're all individuals and can move on. Man, I feel like this is digressing into like a Martin Luther King sermon over here or something.
I think a lot of people in our fan base, a lot of people in our fan base need to hear this, because again, they're eating each other alive. We were joking right before we went live. I put out the video yesterday that it was a huge problem for Josh Heupel. It's his piss poor offensive line play. That's a huge problem for Josh Heupel. So I got a comment that said, "Ignore this guy. He's a troll. He's always negative." I said, "I promise I'm not that guy. If you'll come check out what I do, you'll probably like our community." He says, "What's the channel? I'll check it out." I said, Talkin VAWLS Network. He says, "Oh my gosh, Boogie, I love your show. I didn't know it was you." That's what I'm talking about. We're firing off and yelling and arguing because Tennessee lost. Sometimes you need to step back and look at the full context of the situation. Here's what we got from Timothy McGee for 5. What he's saying is, if you love the team, quit asking for a position coach job or send death threats to players. I don't think that is what he's saying, because it comes right after me talking about a culture issue, and asking a question is when he follows it up. So maybe I'm looking too much into it, but again, that's the way I took it. Obviously, death threats to players is ridiculous. The stuff that happened to Jarrett Garantano is ridiculous. Carson for $2 says, "I missed my kid's 6th birthday being at the Austin Peay game." So you skipped your child's birthday to go watch a Tennessee game. Don't you think, Carson, that you deserve the right to say that Tennessee tackled like absolute trash on Saturday? I think you deserve the right to say that. Dakota wants me to go off the rails, says, "Coach Jay, stop calming down Boogie, LOL." I knew some of you guys would get a kick out of this. Some people would hate it. And some people wouldn't even
feed into it.
Some people thought that I'm way out of line, I'm sure. Scotty Hurley for 10. Everything said in your segment is in no way out of line. When starters miss big games and we play poorly, it raises questions. I want our team to play with the same fire you and we all have. Win. Just win, Scotty. Appreciate the super chat, brother. Look, I know some people are going to agree with what I'm doing here. Some people are going to disagree with what I'm doing here. Jacob says, "Only one way to find out. Have him on the show." I have no interest in doing that. I have no interest in having Billy on the show and trying to start some controversy. This isn't even a controversy. It was just a platform to open a conversation. Let me see if there's anything else he says here out of the end.
That's creating a situation that we don't really need.
Right. You're right. But
I think that's the end of it. So again,
so what I heard there is Ratliff say, "We don't need people like Boogie Bentley. He's a Georgia Bulldog fan. We need to throw him out of the Tennessee fan base, and he's garbage." Boogie, your comments.
Did Dakota just PayPal you? Dakota just PayPal.
Sorry. Thanks for the cash, Dakota. I appreciate that.
That's hilarious. That's hilarious. again, when I hear all that in context, I think he's basically saying you don't need to be out here talking about the off the field issues. You don't need to be talking about Gerald Mincy because that creates more drama for the football team. Look, that news is already out there. It's like I said, when the Mincy stuff happened. You don't think the media is going to go try to figure out why your starting right tackle didn't play against the freaking Florida Gators? Are you kidding me? Timothy for 2 says, Carson, why didn't you take your kid to the game? That would have been a great birthday, wouldn't it, Timothy? What the heck?
He got you there, Carson.
That's a great question, Timothy. A lot of people are getting mad at BVD in the chat. Don't be mad at BVD. Don't be mad at BVD. No. He was having a conversation. I don't know why his entire show was playing my clips, so I figured we would have an entire show playing his clip. Why not? We'll respond back to him. All right, that's enough of that. The whole point of that conversation is it is my belief that we as Tennessee fans have the right to come on this platform and voice our opinion. And the people that probably need to hear this probably aren't a part of this community and won't hear it anyway, because I think everybody here is in that same place that Coach Jay talked about, where we come here as fans, we talk about what we see, we shoot straight, we give our opinions. You guys have a voice. I talk about being the voice of the voiceless. So when I platform you guys and give you a voice, and then I've got a former player basically saying, you guys need to sit on your hands and shut up and let the family take care of things, that irks me. I want to go to bat for you guys and say that you do have a voice, and we are going to continue to have a voice. And there is a reason that we are the biggest channel on YouTube, because our voice is strong and it will be heard whether they like it or not. So that's it. That's my stamp. Any final comments? I about ripped my headphones out with that one.
No, I'm with you. I think you said it perfectly. It's we're fans, we're fanatics. We love this university. Are we going to blow things out of proportion? Yes. Guys, try to calm down, not to blow them too far out of proportion. And let's all be civil with each other. Like I said before, we're all family. So let's love each other and let us air it out, and let us be fans, and let the players be players too. I think there's room for both of us to exist.
I don't disagree with that, Evan. I think a lot of my irritation comes from Billy Ratliff really having no context as to what he is even listening to. And maybe he did. I don't know. I didn't ask BVD that. But that is a good point, Evan. Dakota for 5. Yes, Coach. Way to go. Thank you for the $5, Dakota, even though you're trying to just get me fired up even more. Jenny for $10. That ain't cheap. Says Dorothy, I'm late. Thank you, Billy. No, not thank you, Billy. We're yelling at Billy right now. I knew a lot of players when I was at UT. When I see the former players think the start being negative, that it is when I start to get nervous. Well, I don't know, Billy. I don't know if he was negative or not. Thank you, Jenny, for the super chat. I tuned out after that. I tuned out after I got thrown to the wolves like that. All right, let's talk some football now. Trent says, I love the content, Boogie. We are one big family. That's what it's all about, man. People are going to love us or they're going to hate us, but dang it, they're going to respect us, and we're going to put our opinions out there. Voice of the voiceless. I want you guys to be heard. That's what this channel is all about. All right, let's talk about this UTSA game coming up on Saturday. Again, we called it a bounce-back game, right? We got to bounce back. We got to respond. If we go out and take care of business against UTSA, we go out and take care of business against South Carolina, all this bickering in the fan base is going to go away. Like, what an amazing ride last year was. And even think back, man, after the loss to South Carolina, this fan base really wasn't fighting each other. We were depressed. We were disappointed together. And that's what we've lost here early in this season. But we got some fan questions on the Facebook group that we didn't get to get into on Wednesday. I was looking for some topics, some things to talk about. Nick Lawson in the Facebook group says, what will be the official game plan on Saturday? Run the ball or air it out all over the place? And I know we are a run-first team, but we've got to get this passing game fixed. What are your thoughts on that, Coach?
I think what I said earlier, I think they're going to just try to get back to running Heupel's offense the right way. And when you're doing that, it looks, 60% run, 40% pass. So I think it's what we're going to see. Do we try to stretch that passing game out a little more? Yeah, I think you'll try to see that too in the route tree designs. But if you don't think you're getting at least 60% run, I think you've missed the boat. They need to right that ship. They need to right both ships. So I'm expecting a balanced attack from the offense is what I'm expecting from this Tennessee team on Saturday. And then on defense, we need to get back to being an aggressive Tim Banks defense. We sat on our heels for too long. last game, and the milk, bring the milk to our front door rather than go to the grocery and pick it up our darn self. And so I think that's what the defense does, is get back to being aggressive. I don't know if their 18-year starting quarterback is back this week or not. I think he had turf toe or something like that. He changes the dynamic a bit of that team, so I think that's something to keep an eye on. But even if he is back, I think we need to be aggressive and get after him. Listen, coaches won't openly say it on a football field. As a defense coordinator, I can sit here and absolutely 100% tell you, if I know a quarterback is hurt, I'm going to pin my ears back and I'm going to let him know what time it is. That's just the reality of the violent game that we play every week here. So I expect speed, violence, and good gap integrity from this defense, and they better dang well tackle, or Coach Jay going to blow an absolute gasket, and then balance from the offense with a little bit deeper route tree in mind. If Mays doesn't play, I can't believe that they keep trotting all Lane out there at center the way he's been playing. I refuse to believe it. If they do, it worries me. I won't sugarcoat that at all, Boog.
I mean, it tells you that Addison Nichols isn't ready, right? I mean, Addison Nichols got a lot of run at center during fall camp because you know Cooper was out at the time. But at the end of the day, they just shuffle Ollie Lane over there and they roll with it. And that's, something in my video I made yesterday, a huge problem for Josh Heupel. It is that offensive line. And not to have that same conversation, but it just makes sense here because Addison Nichols, you roll down and you look at the young offensive linemen, Tennessee's in trouble next year. They are going to have to hit a home run in the transfer portal. They've got so many seniors on this football team. And listening to AP in the VolQuest podcast this week saying that he doesn't think Cooper Mays comes back for another year. I mean, that's a concern, man, moving into 2024. But I want to stay right here in 2023. I don't want to waste away and fast forward. We only get so many football games. I want to enjoy them all. You talked about the defense. Man, they set back in zone so much against Florida, and it felt like Mertz just kind of would roll out to the right, escape the pressure, dink and dunk, pick the zone apart, and go pick up first downs, getting off the field on third downs, 2 14-play drives. And you talk about being aggressive. Do you think that Tennessee – we talked about how important it was to get home with 4, right? You got to get home with 4. You got to get home with 4. You got to get home with 4. They roll in there against Florida. They try to drop everybody back in the zone and get home with 4, and they never got home. And I'm with you, man. I think this defense is so much better when Tim Banks is aggressive, but how much of that is a lack of, I don't know, confidence maybe in your secondary to hold up in man coverage? Yeah, we're seeing Kamal Haddon struggle. We had Danico Slaughter not playing on Saturday. I'm curious to see if he's back out on the field this week. I think that will help. You're hearing about a young Ricky Gibson getting some run on Saturday. Let me. I've got the PFF grade still up. Ricky Gibson played – hold on, man, I should have been ready for this. I can't even see it. I'm a horrible failure. I'm a terrible host. I should probably shut down the channel. I think Ricky Gibson got some run against the Gators, if I'm not mistaken. But do you think it's a lack of confidence in the secondary, or what is it? What is it? Why did they go conservative in big games?
If Ricky Gibson is getting run late in the game, then yeah. I mean, do I think he's going to start earning time? I think I mentioned it in the preseason that I fully expect one of these young DBs, if not 2, to work their way onto the field over time as they get better week to week. I know Ricky Gibson missed a tackle last week, and everyone wants to talk about that. It was kind of a weird situation when you go back and watch it. Not forgiving it. Hey, any missed tackles is not acceptable in my book. But it's kind of a weird play where he got spun around a little and can reset his center. But he looked good in coverage. And listen, there were a lot of points where we were dropping back in coverage, but there are spots in this defense where when the quarterback rolls out, the star can make the decision to sit in the flat or come and attack the quarterback. And I think we all saw our star get caught on that little play where the wide receiver dragged both of his feet in bounds and he kind of got caught in that mid zone. I think Boogie might remember there was a play where I pointed out a high school kid during the breakdown got caught in that no man's land, and I freaked out, and I was like, there's one thing you can't do as a linebacker or as a star back. You can't get caught in no man's land. Make a decision and stick with it and ride with it. Either settle in that flat or come for the quarterback full speed. When you get caught indecisive, bad things are going to happen, and a bad thing happened on that play. And if I'm not mistaken, that was the first play of that second quarter, touchdown reel off that Florida run in that quarter when they smoked us. So, you got to get those little things right. Football's a game of momentum, and when you lose out on those little things, they add up to be big things on a football field in a hurry. I just think whether you trust this secondary or not, you've got to affect the quarterback play. You've got to bring pressure in this Tim Banks defense. Otherwise, what are we doing? We're out here for naught. So whether I trust him or not, I'm going to be dialing things up. Periodically, I'm going to stay multiple. I'm going to try to confuse in my fronts. I'm going to be playing split coverages. I'm going to be playing every little scheme you can play to keep them on their toes and let the chips fall that they may in this secondary.
Let me jam a couple of super chats real quick. Timothy for 2. I'm just playing devil's advocate in my comments. It's all good, brother. I can handle it. I got thick skin. I'm used to it. We talk about the players hearing so much negative noise. Imagine just sitting in front of a microphone talking about your favorite team, all the crap that gets thrown at you. Believe me, I'm used to it. I'm going to be just fine, Timothy. You can have all the fun you want in the chat. Shane Bentley for $10. Appreciate that super chat. Says cool to see another Bentley out there, even as a Georgia fan. I must say, the SEC is wide open this season. There's still a lot of games left, but who are y'all thinking will take the conference? It's going to be Georgia. I think Georgia takes the conference. I think it's going to be Georgia and Alabama in Atlanta again, as always. What do you think? Who takes the conference?
I don't know that I'm sold on anyone right now, but I can kind of agree with Shane a little bit. I think it could go several different ways. I guess I'll roll with what you're saying for now.
It's hard to bet against those two teams and those two coaches.
It's hard right now in the current state of the SEC. Everyone's looked bad. Everyone's just looked bad. There's no two ways about it. I said it after the Florida game for any SEC fans that were in there hooping and a holler, and every one of the teams in the Southeastern Conference right now needs to look in the dang mirror because it's not pretty at the current state of things. I think the two best SEC teams right now are Oklahoma and Texas, guys, and that's something I think we can clear our heads about. Is the Southeastern Conference currently?
I mean, you guys do know. Shane brought up a good question there, but you guys know what I think about Georgia fans. But I may spare Shane because his last name is Bentley, so maybe we won't, or maybe we will.
I don't believe there are good people that pull for Georgia. I think they're all terrible, ugly, disgusting human beings. I think it's just that no, there are no good Georgia fans, Eric. There are none.
I had to do it. RFS for, I don't know what that is, but it's from Holland. Says, hey, Boogie, I'm from Holland, big Vol fan. You're going international. Appreciate that super chat, brother, all the way from Holland. That is cool. I have no idea what that means, but it's 6 of them. 6 big ones. 6 big ones, probably like $5 because it's the same color as these. Cody Copeland for 5, nothing to say, just a tip in the tip jar. I appreciate that, brother. Brian Stedham for 2. Late Dorfy, do what you do, Boogie. I did. Whether people liked it or hated it, that was the conversation we had today. Hey, it's something different, man. It's something different on this Friday morning stream. Papa J for 5. Let's hope this game is a lot easier. GBO, we need it. We need it, Papa J. Dustin Sellers in the chat, member for 32 months. Holy smokes, that is a long time. Dustin says, morning, Vols family. What's up, brother? Good to see you in the chat. Let's see here. Shane Bentley says, I feel honored. All right. We're going to wrap this thing up here in just a few minutes, but another good question that came up on Facebook from a couple of different people. Ian Pickett and also Bubba Bickford, which is Sunshine Vol. He says, what do you need to see in this weekend's game to feel better about the remainder of the season? Ian Pickett says, what do you need to see this weekend from Tennessee to still be able to win 9 or 10 games? If I'm taking the easy road, I want to see violence and physicality. I don't want to see our offensive linemen getting whipped up front. Don't get pushed back. We talked about the defensive line and how they were living in the backfield those first 2 weeks. Just get back to doing that. Get back to playing physical football. Establish the run game. I want to see some dang confidence, man. I want to see some confidence in Joe Milton. I just feel like they're missing that confidence, and that's impacting play calling. And it's not just Joe. It's on Joe. It's on the offensive line. Joey Halsley. It's on everybody. Like I'm not one of these guys that's just going to point fingers at one group. But what do you need to see, Coach, on Saturday to think this team can go still win 9 or 10 games?
I want to see the pre-snap fixed. I want to see rhythm, pace, and tempo out of this offense. And I think as soon as you see rhythm, pace, and tempo out of this offense, you'll see the Josh Heupel style of football restored. And I think that's the reason, we talked about last year, the South Carolina game, why we weren't kind of eating our own at that point. I think it's because this Heupel team still looked like a Heupel team. We still showed we can score. We just played, bad defense, quite frankly. And this year, we just haven't seen that rhythm, pace, and tempo. It hasn't looked like a Josh Heupel team. I think that's what's causing everyone to be skittish and kind of eat their own to a certain degree. So what do I want to see? Yeah, I want to see the offensive line play better and tackling and all that stuff. But the main thing is rhythm, pace, and tempo, because that rhythm, pace, and tempo is going to give your confidence. It's going to help your defense out by being a good weapon, putting points on the board and putting them in a better position to where they don't have to play A+ football for the entirety of the game. So that's what I want to see from this Tennessee team this Saturday.
Timothy McGee for $10. Thank you for the super chat. I am missing the crossing route in the office. I'm missing the curl route as well. This whole bomb it down the field is getting old. I like Heupel. Just don't understand why he won't go to that. It seemed like they tried to hit the middle of the field against Austin Peay, and they struggled. That's when Joe had his worst game. That's when the receivers were dropping balls, and it's like they just went away from it. I thought Joe played good against Florida. I've said it. I've been yelled at. I've been cussed and called every name in the book. I thought Joe played good. As far as execution, now the offense is still running slow. There's still a lot that's missing there that Coach Jay is preaching over there. My old dumb fan eyes looks and goes, hey, he threw a good pass there. That's a great throw by Joe. But I get it. I understand. But thank you, Timothy, for the super chat. Parker. Hold on here. Parker for $10. Just got here late. Door fee. Interesting fact. Y'all know Wesley Walker and Tyler Barron are stepbrothers. I saw AP tweet that. I didn't know if it was real or if it was like – I thought maybe it was a gimmick, like it was a joke or something that happened in that interview. No, I didn't know that was real. Timothy McGee says he wants to see offense on Saturday to feel confident about this team. Cody Copeland for $5. Coach Jay, in your opinion, is the offense not the same because of Milton and the O-line, or has the play calling just not been the same without Golish?
The O-line, Milton, in synergy together in the pre-snap and the adjustments, the check, and uncheck, and no check to check has been really bad.
So do you think that is why the play calling has been the way it is? Because that's what I'm going with. I think the play calling's been vanilla because of A, B, and C that leads to D.
Yep, 100%. You can't line up. You can't play football. It's that simple, and they're having trouble lining up. And this offense happens at extremely high speed, as you all know. You have to digest information at an extremely high rate. That information is digested by the center communicating to the line, communicating to the quarterback, communicating to the offense. That line of communication has been broken down at multiple levels, and that's the issue as I see it.
Got another super chat from Scotty Hurley for $5. Appreciate that. Playing soft and not bringing pressure gets you beat. Stay on the attack. If not, you don't create turnovers or momentum, just long drives on defense. Yeah, long drives with a lot of third down conversions. All right, we're an hour into this thing. Everybody's waking up in California and trying to steal Coach Jay's internet.
They are. It's really bad.
We do have to get a score prediction before we get out the door. We do them on Wednesday night, but Coach Jay isn't on the Wednesday night show, so we always get his little quick breakdown, rundown, and a score prediction. What do you got, Coach?
40-18, Tennessee.
Coach Jay got Dauber problems today. Yeah, what are you staying in Dauber's house? Are you in Dauber's basement right now?
That's what. Yeah, Dauber, I'll be right up. Breakfast ready yet? Yeah, no. 40-18, Tennessee.
All right, that's going to do it for this edition of the Friday Morning Show. Appreciate you guys tuning in. Appreciate you guys that understand what I was trying to say, the point that I was trying to make. When I get passionate about something, I'm not always as articulate as I wish I could be, like Coach Jay is. He speaks so well, and I just speak from the heart and get flustered. And the bottom line is I think fans deserve to have a voice. We spend our time, we spend our money on this football team, and I get it. It's two different things, right? Coach Jay likes to say all the time when I ask him a question, two things can be true. The players put the time, the sacrifice, the energy. They put their bodies on the line. I get it. And they're over here and we're fans. We can't exist without each other. If there's no players, there's no fans. If there's no fans, there's no games. We all exist together, and I just believe that we as fans deserve to have our voice heard. There's nothing wrong with speaking your opinion, but always keep it civil. Always respect the other person. You don't have to, just because you disagree, just because you want Nico, just because you want Joe, just because you think it's play calling, you don't have to go on the attack. You don't have to go straight to name calling, because that's all that happens on the internet in 2023. And we're never going to change that, but I'm going to keep preaching that. Don't go to the name calling. Have a conversation. Have a discussion. That's what football's all about. That is going to do it. He's Coach Jay. My name is Boogie Bentley. This is the Talkin VAWLS Network. Go Big Orange.
The songs how like me, poets at an arcade, soaking moonlit falls, unbroken past this inundated orb that we call home.